Welcome. As you can see from the previous screenshot, we were close, but unfortunately we took an L on that last war. So hey, we move on, we push forward, and we bounce back this one. So here we are, War 7, and ironically I have 7 fights this war. I had to recheck our fight plan to be like, oh wow, I got all this stuff now. But anyway, here we are. So first war, or first fight, is a Section 1 Path 2 Weapon X. Don't ask me the node, but I am running the full recoils right now, so my plan is just to, push him to an SP1 or 2 when he's close to 25 charges, bait it out so he gets his unstoppable, and we're gonna let our frostbites and cold snaps do our thing. Right there, that was like a horrible intercept attempt, another horrible attempt, and another horrible attempt. It is like, I'm not worried about dying. The only thing that's bothering me right now is like looking at my health and thinking of all the potions I have to use. So it's like, I know, like, even though I've taken like a ton of hits to the face, I am like fully calm right here. And I'm like, okay, well, we get back in our groove. This little rage berserk mode is over with, so we move on, and he goes down. Like I said, we were not worried about dying, we're just worried about, I'm not even worried, it's just like pissed off about the potions that had to be used. So I'm like, okay, cool. Move on to fight number 2, and now I'm gonna look at my health, get an idea of what I need. I'm like, okay, I need about 80k in health potions. So here we are, we've returned back. And I think I popped a regen boost just to top me up. Because, it's Black Panther, so hey, we're not trying to parry and get that reflected on us while this shield is up. But fight's in here, so we're going to bait out in heavy, punish him for doing that. And this time I'm like, okay, I'm going to just be more cautious. So the root timer is about to kick in, we bait out his heavy. We hit him for trying to heavy us. We hit him again. And we'll bait out the SP2. Like I said, I am running the full recoil. So debated either going for the SP2 or just doing another, or getting to my SP3. But at that point, since I was rooted and he was close and I didn't want to have to deal with the SP1 while rooted, we fight our SP2. Finish him off with a striker and we're moving on. Now that time, health-wise, we did a-okay. So we had to do a mastery change. And now we're back. We're on Path 9, Section 2. We're going to be taking Deathless Thanos against the arcade here. And I actually like doing this fight. I feel like A is pretty straightforward with Deathless Thanos. So we did pop an invulnerability boost. I figured, notice power focus 2, and if I play it smart, I can just push him to SP3 and not worry about everything else. And so since you got to be careful in the first phase, triggering the poison immunity is going to trigger the auto block, or increase this token step, trigger auto block. So that was a horrible SP1 dex, but hey, we bounced back. So we're going to knock him down. We only gained a couple of furies that time compared to what we could have gained, but yeah, so the plan here is just to hold on. Alright, now we're back. Don't tell my boss I'm doing this. Alright, so we get him to his SP2, and like I said, we have the invulnerability boost, so we're not really worried. Fire our SP2. And I wasn't expecting to catch him with the striker, but hey, it worked out. Like, even if we ate the SP3, we would have took 0 damage. But like I said, I always thought that was like a cool interactive fight. So now we're moving on, and I have this Adam Warlock. Well, I see my invulnerability boost is still good, so I'm like, hey, okay, cool, we're good to go. Then I'm like, wait, let me look at the notes again, and I'm like, okay, one eye open, just make sure I don't parry the guy, or if I do parry him, make sure I'm not attacking and frostbites are active. So the plan here is ideally bait out SP1 since he's tactic, I can punish that and gain the unblockable, and he won't be unblockable. But if we don't, I'm not gonna stress it. So we're trying to bait out another SP1 right here while he's melting and our frostbites are ticking. But of course, you know, he gets to SP2. So the plan here is to at least tap his little pod once. So that way we get the unblockable, we wait that out, and of course he goes right back in it. And that could have been tragic, but he didn't punish me. So we're gonna wrap this up right here. We're gonna combo into our SP2. Big damage, and he's down. Shout out to Ice Bro. Alright, and now we begin our first of 3 mini bosses. Alright, first we have these Destroyer mini, Rich Get Richer. The plan here is ideally pushing the SP2 and punish those. So we're bringing in Deathless She-Hulk. So we threw a heavy, and honestly I couldn't even tell you why I did it. But here I'm like, bruh, I was blocking and this guy still threw his SP1. So he's stun immune after he throws a special. So that's why we're just getting some parries in. And we're gonna apply our Wither to deal with his power gain. But in actuality, I should have went SP3 first for the debuff duration to increase, and then go SP2s. So like I said, we're trying to push the guy to SP2. And we finally get our SP3 off. This gives us debilitate, so our debuffs last longer. Now we're just here to bait out the SP2. And then at that moment I also had to remember the Deathless Thanos synergy only works with the full Deathless champs, so I can't gain a grit by punishing that. And here I'm just like, why do you keep throwing SP1? Now I gotta bait out another one. Yeah, and honestly, don't ask about the SP2. Yeah, that time he did catch me off guard, but hey, we're cool. So now we're getting cornered. And I'm like, well, I got 3 bars of power, so we'll go for another SP3 and then we'll focus on getting to our SP2. So now our debuffs are going to last even longer. But, you know, look, like I said, even though I've got tagged a few times, I'm still not worried about putting up a death. I'm just over here like, I really got to use more potions. But hey, we're making it. So we get our SP2 off. Now we have our Wither to deal with his power gain, which, like I said, hindsight's 2020. So SP3 would have been the move first, and then go for SP2. So that way, when he had that power gain in the middle of the fight, you know, he would have been draining himself. But next time I'll be better prepared. So we go for another SP2. And I probably could have finished him off in one combo. And there was me like telling myself, you saw that unstoppable was on the guy, right? Now I'm just like, now I got more potions to deal with. This war was costly. And he pushes us to SP3. And I'm thinking the SP3 should take him out. If not, our burst damage will, and of course it does. Alright. So we made it, you know, hey, we're still alive. I'm just over there looking, and I'm like, of course I gotta use more potions. Because I still have another Deathless She-Hulk fight. But in the meantime, I'm trying to figure out why am I not getting over there. And I'm like, I do gotta hit that green icon, don't I? So I actually restarted my game. That's why we came back on that screen. Now we're here. And now we have the Shocker. Don't ask me the node. But we have the Shocker Mini. And then this node does have the... I can't think of the node where after 10 block hits, their next hit, the defender is unstoppable. Bubble shield, there we go. So this node does have bubble shield. So you know, plan here is just bait out some SP1s, land an intercept if he gets above 50 charges to keep them in check. And I'm like, as long as I take as few hits as possible on my block, then yeah, we should be good to go as far as, like, you know, not getting caught by a bubble shield trap. There's a root mechanic where sure it could kick in if you don't hit him after so long. And there I was not paying attention to his charges, and of course he gets me in the stun. So we fire SP1 to get out of the root. I knew he would auto block it due to his charges, but that also consumes charges that he has. So I check, I'm like, okay, I'm good enough to block the SP2. It won't trigger bubble shield. I'll let him hit my block a few times, and we're gonna get our SP2, get our DOT effects rolling. As you can see, the corrosion is ticking him away. And, you know, hey, we managed it pretty well. Like, I don't have another Deathless Thanos fight, so we could be a bit more or less cautious as far as health is concerned. But now we get to move on to our third mini, and we're back with our boy Armin Zola. So I had to go through, heal up my She-Hulk, you know, eat into the potion stash again. And I've taken this fight a couple of wars so far. So this time I wanted to try, normally I'd run the invulnerability boost, but this time I wanted to try doing the power start 1 boost because I want to get to SP3 as quickly as I can. Get the debilitate debuffs to increase the duration of my trauma. And, you know, ideally we don't let the trauma fall off. So like I say, I'm not worried about dying on the fight. It's just doing what I need to do. And here I am just like, did something change with the heavy animation? But I'm like, hey, we'll worry about that later. His SP1, at least, you know, it doesn't deal that much damage to you, so that's a nice thing. And now we're back in a rhythm of punishing this heavy. I dashed in a little off key there, which is why he was able to punish me. But hey, we're at our SP3. We fire it. And we keep on moving. So the plan here, you know, bait out SP1s, punish him, bait out his heavy, counter with our heavy, and just go in. See, that's how the first time should have went, but hey, we're here. And like I said, my plan here is mostly just go for SP3s. We can get up to 2 debilitate debuffs, and that will greatly increase how long our trauma lasts. And the ideal is just to be able to get a bunch of trauma without losing it. Because I think every fight I've done against this guy on this node, at some point I always lose my trauma. Like there, we're getting pretty close. But luckily he finally does throw specials so they get refreshed. And like I said, we're just keeping it steady. You know, we got our spacing back as far as when he does his heavy, how to counter with our heavy. And the plan here, ideally bait out one more SP1 and then get our SP3 rolling. Now we have 2 debilitate debuffs, so our trauma should last fairly long. Those energize are definitely annoying. Like a couple of hits and he's at SP1. But hey, you know, as long as he keeps throwing the specials and we have our trauma working, we're a-okay. Like I said, it's another fight where, you know, looking at my health, you probably think I'm panicking, but not really. Like I said, I've taken this fight a few times through the season, so I'm aware of how much damage he can end up doing to me off his basic hits and his SP1. And as long as we don't push him to SP2, I'm pretty much golden. So right now we're just in that slow farm of the fight. My plan was to hopefully he threw a special and then I could just like spam heavies in the corner for a while, but of course he doesn't want to play fair. And the fight is, we're getting there. The fight's almost over. So, like I said, fear of death is not on my mind, it's just finishing, which, lo and behold, we finally did. So there you have it. Were they the prettiest fights? Absolutely not. But did we make it through? Absolutely. So we also have to give a shout out to this battle group. At this point in time, the war is still ongoing, but eventually it came out to a close. And hey, when my battle group was finished, we realized this group made it through without dying, which is definitely cool. So I'll post a screenshot or either a small recording of the results of the war. That'll actually be included in this video. But still make sure you tune in to the next war, alright? So until next time, guys. See ya.
That's all, folks.